ever since Donald Trump was elected to president, there has been a blitz by the mainstream media to crack down on fake news, meaning anywhere from small opinionated sites all the way to what is blatantly parody news. It is they believe in their opinion that this is why Donald Trump won. Misinformation that was spread by fake news, which of course is being run by Russia, with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. So the Blitz has become about stopping these news sites which they blame the election of Donald Trump on. Of course, such an idea is actually fairly ridiculous. Donald Trump was elected for reasons which have to do with displeasure at the establishment of the United States government, etc. It has nothing to do with some kind of conspiracy by Russia. It's frankly nonsense. What has happened is that a lot of people now know what kind of person Hillary Clinton is, her imperialist actions, which are probably the most important of all. Donald Trump is a stupid asshole. But he says it, he lives it, he breathes it. He doesn't even pretend otherwise. Hillary Clinton, however, went to incredible lengths to try to hide her history of murder, imperialism, racism, homophobia, etc. So, the thing is, now we know what she's like because there has been very independent media. And yes, there are many fake news sites, and some of them which are just outright awful. Some of them are very, very opinionated, and those opinions tend to reach into the bounds of outright falsehood. I'm not saying there isn't bad media out there. Of course there is. I just find that the whole thing is a real crackdown on alternative media. Anyone who doesn't want to follow the mainstream narrative, whether that be the mainstream right or left narrative. If the desire was really to get at phony news, then wouldn't they have gone after Fox News a long time ago? On countless occasions, Fox News has outright lied, presented false facts, presented false data, and false misreadings of data. So why aren't they going after them? The mainstream media is the same ones who told us that, if you smoke marijuana, you're going to murder people. You heard the whole reefer madness from way back in the day. And that's false. It's not true. And there was never any data whatsoever to show that it was true. There was no studies that would have confirmed that, because it's outright false. Yet the mainstream media perpetuated it without question. Look at weapons of mass destruction. We were sold a reason to invade Iraq based on an absolute and complete lie. Not an intelligence failure, not the act of some kind of corrupt politician. Of course, liberalism always reducing it to an corrupt individual and not something systemic within the system itself. The mainstream media lied en masse. There was zero evidence of weapons of mass destruction. None. But the mainstream media took it as though it was real, and without a critical eye. So, we could point to all kinds of terrible hypocrisy by the mainstream media, but that's not really what this is about. This is about the rise of the information age, and particularly with regards to the internet and alternative sources of information. And it is very important to separate phony news from very opinionated news. And I would place myself in the very opinionated news. These are the facts. This is a third worldist class perspective of those facts. This is what I see from a Marxist perspective. It's right in the title, Maoist Rebel News. I'm not trying to pass myself off as being objectively correct because I'm being unbiased. Frankly, there is no unbiased. There is always some kind of view. That always happens because the world, politics isn't as simple as people try to make it out to be. There is always a view. I'm giving the Marxist view. Fox News is giving, I don't even know a word for it. Well, let's just use conservative. They got MSNBC, which is pushing a very liberal view. That doesn't necessarily make them wrong. See, that's the whole convolution here. You have people who just outright make up things that just aren't true. like a lot of conspiracy sites. They just say things because there's some kind of vague connection in their mind, but nothing solid and real. It's the same thing with a lot of things like natural news or anti-mainstream pharmaceutical kind of things about holistic medicines and the anti-vaccine movements, which is again not based on science in any way, shape, or form. All of this confusion, it was what's being used to sell us a conspiracy theory. Essentially, Russia interfered with the US elections. But taken as a whole, it has always been the mainstream media which has been fake, which has been a lie. Mainstream media has always been used by the elites to perpetuate a particular opinion, as I said, with the manufactured consent of the invasion of Iraq based on the false claim of nuclear weapons. My point is to say this. There is no blitz on fake news, although fake news does exist. What's being attacked is anything that disagrees with the establishment of the ruling class and the particular viewpoints which they allow to exist, particularly the liberal and conservative dynamic. Anything that deviates outside of that is fake news in their eyes. And if anybody would dare challenge the narrative being put out by the mainstream media, by the ruling class, is to be considered fake news, then I would be very happy to carry that title. Because I've been pretty honest in my position. I don't make any secrets about who I am or what perspective I'm using. And if they want to call that fake news, then by all means, slap that on me too. Because I wouldn't be surprised if at some time in the future, Facebook tried to censor my videos based on some kind of perception of fake news. But for all the bluster about the Soviet Union in 1984 and George Orwell and Animal Farm and all kinds of other nonsense, where are we really seeing this? We are now really beginning to see this in the United States, most of all, in probably the most capitalist of capitalist states. The irony, I just love the whole irony about how no matter how hard Orwell tried to attack the Soviet Union, all the attacks that he used ended up being completely applicable to capitalist states. The one that he was sucking up to the entire time. The ones that he snitched people out to the entire time. Is it ironic or genuinely appropriate? Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.